folks, Jonathan here, back started on the bell housing for the engine, and wanted to show a couple things. One thing, I had somebody ask about the plate, how I drilled the original holes, got the measurements for them. Here's the plate that was on that. This is what I chucked up in the lathe, so I just actually used this and copied the holes the easy way, and copied the size, and then of course while it was in the lathe went ahead and put a center in it. That way we had exact center and it all worked out perfect, so we know we're right, no issues there. I did get my center flex joint in today. Now here's something I didn't realize. I thought it's broke in two places. Okay, so she's broken here and here, and it's still attached right here. Problem is it's missing a piece here and here and here. I didn't know it was supposed to be there. I thought it was just a triple. I thought maybe it was made a particular way because it turned, but I'm going to show you how bad that thing really is. There's the one that goes in it. Okay, so that goes back against the surface, and then I heard it, so she's going to come over here and do a CAT scan on it and make sure it's okay. What's it look like now? It ain't a collar for you, I promise. So anyway, it actually goes on and compresses. I'd seen something about it talking about compressed and not compressed, so evidently it pulls down and compresses against the bolts, and then hopefully them three line up like they're supposed to, and this thing will bolt on. So we'll know that soon. And but yeah, I didn't know it was actually as bad as it is. I thought it was just broken three places, but there's just chunks missing and everything else. So that thing was getting ready to go either way. And now this wasn't our noise, because we already confirmed for sure that we've got a spun bearing. Okay, so the only thing holding me up right now is my 14-inch round plate. I've got plenty of 1/4 inch, but I don't want to make it that thin, and I've got plenty of 3/4, but I really don't want to make it that thick. So I'm looking for a piece of 7/16 or half, or even 3/8, preferably, you know, half. But I got a friend that's looking. If he don't have it, we'll end up doing it out of 3/4 if we have to. But whatever we got to do, because I got to get moving in the right direction here. All right, folks. So we couldn't find anything except for 1/4. Well, he found a piece of 3/8, but I'd rather go heavy than light. They did quite a bit to reinforce that bell housing on the inside. Now, I know it's cast and this is steel, and there's a big difference, but I'd rather just be safe than sorry. And this is a piece of 3/4 thick, nice heavy plate. And too bad it's only 12 inches here. I need a 14-inch round piece, so we're gonna have to get it out of a corner, but that's okay, because we've got enough of it we can work with it. What's up, Nanner? Uh-oh, now. Time for you to move. Good cat. Okay, so rough torch cut out. As you can see, I took a black marker and marked the center. And we're going to get that centered as close as we can get it. And go ahead and start boring our hole there. And once we get that bored out on the milling machine, out to the size we need for the pump, then we can take this and chuck it up in the lathe, turn the outside of it. Alright, so we got it drilled to 1.5 inch, and now I'm going to go ahead and put the boring head in the machine and get to work boring it. And we've got to go to 3-inch 225 is what we've got to go to, so we've got a long ways to go. Alright, okay folks, our hole is bored, and now because we know we're in the exact center, we're going to move over and we're going to go a 1/2 inch out on each one, and we're going to go ahead and drill our holes to tap our bolts for our pump. Alright folks, time to chuck her in the lathe. Hope I can clear it. It's 14 inches, 15-inch lathe, so I don't think it'll be a problem. Alright, so there we go folks. Wouldn't clear it all. Cut it down to 14 inches. And it barely clears my table now anyway. But we're done with that part. Now it's time to clean this up, and then we're going to go through, and we got to drill the other holes. We got to drill them in the right spot. There's 8 holes, so we got to index them to where these are lined up. These are either go straight up and down or straight across. I can't remember. I think straight across. So we'll have to index it so our 8 holes are in the right spot, so to keep our pump where it's supposed to be. It's going to be next, but that's done. There's not a single gouge or anything in it from the torch. I went big enough, and so I could cut down. Now what I do, and one of the easy ways of doing this, if you cut out with a torch and then you bore your hole just like I've done and then stuck it in here, you know, it wasn't perfect. It wasn't real bad off. It would surprise you how close it was. But what you do is, you know, I go through and I grind it a little bit to get all the slag and the stuff off of it. And then I take my cutter and let my cutter run, and wherever the high spots are, you can come back with the grinder and cut some of them down, you know, if they're really high, and then just keep working with it until you finally get it all. And you know, it's a lot of time. It's time consuming, but we've got a really nice plate now that we just need to get the faces cleaned up on. And I still got to tap the holes, but they're there and in the right place, so that's what matters. Okay folks, here's what we've got. I've got all my holes drilled. I didn't film it. I left the camera in the house and I just went on and knocked it out and got it done. So that's done, and then now I've got the bolt started in, and I'm setting my gap. Now what I got to do is set it to where this is 7/8 protruded in from here. When I figure that out, then I'll measure up here and I'll get that gap, and then I'm going to make some pieces to go between there, which is going to be 1-inch round stock, and they're all going to be machined to the exact same length, and then we're going to put them on, because this has got to be exactly parallel with the bell housing, so you can see about how far the bell housing is going to come out. That's about where it's going to be. We'll get them in, and then we'll start putting pieces between it, and we'll see how it works out. Oh, I did get this straight across for the bolts. That way that pump will be exactly where it's supposed to be. And still don't have a new center flex joint in, but it don't matter. This pushes all the way up against our plate. So once it's up against our plate, then I know we're all the way up in, and we're just doing measurements. That's it. So let's get at it. We're gonna have to cut 8 pieces and bore all 8 pieces out, and then machine them exact, and then we'll get them bolted on there, and then we'll start running in between to make our little bell housing here. Alright folks, done for the day. And again, towing today and working on this thing. And we've got all our spacers mated in there. They're exactly 1 inch. That brought me to 7/8, exactly where I wanted to be. So it worked out really well. So the plan is next, This is 3/4 bar, but I'm going to get some 1-inch or cut some 1-inch, and then I'm going to run it through my clip roll and try to put on, you know, the same radius on it, and we'll cut pieces and put in. I'd rather cut pieces than go over top. That way we can get a good, you know, good seal between it, because I don't want anything getting into the bell housing. But should be able to go right in between, and we'll put a weld around it, and then we're going to weld each one of these in. And so when we're done, this will be a fully enclosed bell housing with nothing can get in or out. And everything's fine, lined up good. Everything's really working out really well. So we're not having any issues. This is not going to break. You know, this is definitely an overkill for the thickness, but it was either that or go with something that was thinner than I really wanted to do. So I'd rather go heavier. There's an old saying in tractor pulling that says, when in doubt, build it stout. So if you got a doubt of whether something will hold up or not, just build it stronger, and then you don't have to worry about it. Next, besides that, we'll do that, but I'm gonna go from this, you know, the height of this up to where these mounts are, and we're going to set these mounts up the same height, the same width, and actually the same distance from the surface back to the center hole. And that way this engine will be placed, the pump will be in the direct spot that it's in, and then everything else will, you know, be worked around. Front motor mounts we can build, not an issue. We'll just do these back ones just like they are. The only difference is we're gonna take this one out and redo it. This one, yeah, no problem with it, but we're going to redo that mount, remake it, and then we're going to set this thing in the exact same space as it was, and then we'll go from there with working with everything else. So moving right along, shouldn't be too long. We'll have this thing together, knocked out, and we'll roll on to another project. But this is pretty fun. You know, somebody would call stuff like this work, but I mean, when it's fabricating stuff, you know, it's not bad. It's pretty fun to do, and I enjoy stuff like this. Now, if this was just an engine swap, I wouldn't even want to do it. All right, I appreciate everybody watching, and until next time, bye.